Popsicles, sprinklers, a cool breeze. Talk about refreshing. You know what else is refreshing this summer? A brand new phone with Verizon. Yep, get a new phone on any plan with Select Phone Trade-in and My Plan. And lock down a low price for 3 years on any plan with My Plan. This is a deal for everyone, whether you're a new or existing customer. Swing by Verizon today for our best phone deals. 3-year price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate only. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. They're the home of the #1 checkout on the planet and the not-so-secret Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales happening. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Allbirds and Skims use. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/start selling. All lowercase. Go to shopify.com/start selling to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/start selling.
Popsicles, sprinklers, a cool breeze. Talk about refreshing. You know what else is refreshing this summer? A brand new phone with Verizon. Yep, get a new phone on any plan with Select Phone Trade-in and My Plan. And lock down a low price for 3 years on any plan with My Plan. This is a deal for everyone, whether you're a new or existing customer. Swing by Verizon today for our best phone deals. 3-year price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate only. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. They're the home of the #1 checkout on the planet and the not-so-secret Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales happening. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Allbirds and Skims use. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/start selling. All lowercase. Go to shopify.com/start selling to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/start selling.
Hello, I'm Sarah.
I'm Dewey.
And welcome to the Whispering Woods Haunted. This episode is all about
Screaming Woods in Kent.
It is, and actually, this haunted episode and then next week's episodes are all kind of carrying on from one another because they're all in Kent. So we've got this episode about the Screaming Woods, and then we've got the main episode next week is about Bluebell Hill Road, where we have some spooky stuff going on. And then the extra episode is about Pluckley, which is apparently the most haunted village in Britain.
Yeah, we don't want to go there, mate.
No.
Britain's haunted enough.
Right, we'll get straight into it. Are you ready for the story?
Yes, I am.
On a grey autumn morning, 2 utility workers entered the edge of Daring Woods to check a remote water meter. The task was routine, until a sudden blood-curdling scream shattered the silence from somewhere deep in the forest. The panicked workers stood frozen, hearts pounding, scanning the misty glades for any sign of a person in distress. There was no one, only the dark, tangled trees. As the horrifying wail faded, the pair hastily abandoned their equipment and fled without even taking the meter reading. They had just experienced the phenomenon that gives Daring Woods its nickname, the Screaming Woods. Daring Woods, located between the villages of Pluckley and Smarden in the county of Kent, appears at first to be an idyllic stretch of English woodland, a place of serenity and beauty that draws one in, as one writer describes. But as dusk settles, an aura of foreboding replaces the forest's daytime calm. Locals have reported unearthly sounds piercing the darkness under the boughs. It is the disembodied blood-curdling screams heard through the night that earn these woods their haunted moniker. According to local folklore, the very name Screaming Woods comes from the belief that the eerie wails are the voices of lost souls. Villagers say that at night you can still hear the screams of the numerous people who got lost there and died, their anguished cries echoing through the pines as if begging for release. Such tales of the dead roaming here have persisted so long that in 1989, Pluckley, the village abutting the woods, was even listed by Guinness World Records as Britain's most haunted village, with a dozen separate ghosts, and the Screaming Woods counted among its most infamous haunts. What exactly do people claim to encounter in the Screaming Woods? The chorus of phantom screams is just one of the reported horrors. Witnesses have also described hearing disembodied footsteps crunching over fallen leaves and mysterious whispers. Often these occur on dark, fog-laden days when the woods are otherwise deathly still. Some say the birds fall silent in this forest, as if unnerved by something we cannot see. Those who walk the lonely footpaths have sometimes felt they were not alone, that something unseen was pacing behind them. Many have sworn they spotted black shadowy figures in their periphery, flitting between the trees or even following them at a distance. These silhouettes vanish when approached, leaving the traveller unsure if their eyes played tricks or if a restless spirit crept behind. The overall effect is deeply unsettling. Even a seasoned paranormal investigator visiting Pluckley on a personal research trip admitted that while she witnessed no clear apparition, the woods were eerie, and she experienced unexplainable noises, along with the vivid feeling of being followed during her walk. Local lore holds that several distinct ghosts haunt these woods, each with its own tragic story. One of the best known is the tale of the Colonel, an 18th century army officer who is said to have taken his own life in Daring Woods. As the story goes, the Colonel, distraught from war or personal demons, wandered into a section of the forest known as Park Wood and hanged himself from a tree. In life, he was a man of regimented bearing, and in death, he apparently remains the same. Dozens of witnesses over the years have reported encountering a lone figure in old-fashioned military wear wandering along the trees. He is usually described as calm and melancholy, sometimes even marching quietly along woodland paths before fading into nothing. An especially striking account involves a young man who was exploring the woods near twilight. He froze in shock upon spotting the body of a man in uniform hanging from a high branch. Gathering his courage, the witness ran forward to help. As he drew closer, the hanging man simply vanished into thin air. Only later did the shaken witness learn that he had most likely seen the phantom colonel, whose apparition is known to appear both in the form of a marching officer and as a suspended corpse swaying from a rope. This hanged colonel is by all reports a silent presence, unlike the disembodied screams that give the woods their name. Those who encounter him often don't realise they've seen a ghost at all until he inexplicably disappears. On the opposite end of the spectral spectrum is the legend of the Highwayman, a far more boisterous ghost said to replay the violent drama of his death. In the 18th century, a highway robber named Robert Dubois, sometimes just called the Screaming Man, made the roads outside Pluckley his hunting grounds. Dubois would hide behind a large oak at the forest edge, a crossroads now grimly nicknamed Fright Corner, and leap out to waylay travellers at Sword Point. His reign of terror ended when locals took justice into their own hands. According to the classic version of the tale, a band of angry villagers cornered the highwayman at his lurking spot in the woods. Refusing to surrender, Dubois fought furiously until someone thrust a sword through the very tree he hid behind, pinning him in place. The mob then finished him off with a swift decapitation right there against the oak trunk. To this day, the gruesome scene is said to repeat itself in ghostly form. Visitors have reported the spectre of a man in a tricorn hat lunging from behind trees on the lonely lane, as if reenacting the old robbery trick. Others walking by Fright Corner at midnight have heard the clang of steel and a terrified scream, as though an invisible sword fight were taking place in the dark. In some retellings, witnesses even claim to see the phantom oak tree itself. The original tree was removed in the 20th century, with the shadowy figure of the highwayman briefly visible, sometimes pinned in agony against the trunk, before the entire vision evaporates. Unlike the Colonel, the highwayman's ghost is associated with sound and fury, a residual echo of violence that manifests as frantic noises. It's little wonder locals count this among the most frightening encounters in the Screaming Woods. One 2008 news article cheerily noted that many passers-by have claimed to hear the scream and sword battle of the dying highwayman in the darkness at Fright Corner. Besides these two infamous figures, a host of other phantoms are tied into Pluckley's haunted forest lore. The adjoining village has no shortage of ghosts. A lady in red haunting the churchyard, a phantom coach clattering down country lanes, and a few of these spirits are said to roam near or even in the woods themselves. Some locals tell of encountering the watercress woman, the misty ghost of an old gypsy lady who once sold watercress by the crossroads and who tragically burned to death, accidentally setting herself alight with her pipe. Her pale figure has been reportedly seen sitting quietly on a bridge at the forest edge, smoke from an ethereal pipe curling around her as she fades away. Others claim the ghost of a long-dead brickmaker occasionally appears near the old brickworks by the woods, still moaning in pain from the 19th century accident that crushed him under a collapse of clay. And folklore even holds that a headmaster from a nearby village who hanged himself after World War I, now lingers as a mournful spirit along an old lane adjoining the woodlands. Yet another lost soul tied to this haunted place. With so many ghosts in local circulation, it can be hard at times to say which spirit is at play, but anyone walking in the woods at night can agree that something unseen seems to watch from the gloom. Perhaps the most chilling aspect of the Screaming Woods is how even modern events have fed its legend. Not all the tales here are centuries old. Some are disturbingly recent. One often whispered story is the so-called Daring Woods Massacre. According to this tale, on the morning of November the 1st, 1948, a local dog walker stumbled upon a ghastly scene deep in the forest. Over 20 people lying dead in a heap on the leafy ground. 11 of the victims were children, all from nearby families of the Mortman's Hill hamlet. There were no wounds on the bodies, no signs of struggle or violence. It was as if they had all simply dropped dead together. An autopsy could find no clear cause, no poisoning, no gas, nothing. In the story, police grew baffled and ultimately chalked the tragedy up to carbon monoxide poisoning, closing the case with little explanation. It did not escape notice that such a convenient verdict stopped the investigation in its tracks, a fact that conspiracy-minded locals found highly suspicious. The mystery only deepened exactly 50 years later, in October of 1998, on the precise anniversary of the 1948 incident. 4 college students decided to camp in Daring Woods overnight and vanished without a trace. The same night, villagers in Pluckley reported seeing strange webs of bright lights hovering above the forest canopy. A thorough search turned up nothing, and after 3 futile weeks, the official investigation into the missing students was abruptly abandoned. These stories are hair-raising, suggesting that something malevolent in the woods might periodically claim lives. However, it must be stated that no official records or contemporary newspapers ever documented such events at the time. In fact, researchers have traced these particular stories back not to local testimony, but to internet creepypasta lore circulating in the early 2000s. In other words, the 1948 massacre and the 1998 disappearances appear to be modern fictional additions to the Screaming Woods mythology. While many locals scoff at these invented legends, the tales have nevertheless been absorbed into the forest folklore. Despite the dubious nature of the late 20th century legends, the core reputation of the Screaming Woods remains robustly grounded in genuine local belief, historical lore, and first-hand reports. The paranormal notoriety of Pluckley and its woods has been reinforced by media attention and investigation over the years. The area has been featured on TV programmes like Most Haunted and Ghost Hunters International, where film crews brave the darkness among the trees in search of the source of the screams. One legend even claims that a BBC film crew in the 1990s experienced bizarre equipment malfunctions and an encounter with an unseen presence on attempting to shoot a documentary in the woods. And every October brings an influx of thrill seekers to Pluckley, drawn by the village's ghostly fame and the hope of hearing the woods' otherworldly cries for themselves. Locals have watched as hundreds of visitors arrive near the woods on Halloween night, torches and cameras in hand. In 2023, a Kent news reporter who braved a walk in the Screaming Woods noted with nervous humour that one website alone cited many reports of people hearing terrifying screams from these trees. And an article in the New York Times observed that the forest is supposedly the source of terrifying nocturnal shrieks, which no curious tourist can ignore. The crowds have become large enough that some villagers are uneasy. One pub owner recalls 2,000 people arriving in the village around Halloween, and sometimes chooses to lock his doors and turn off the lights rather than be overrun by ghost hunters. The sign on the road leading toward the woods now pointedly urges drivers to slow down or you will upset our ghosts. A wry nod to the spectres that put this quiet corner of Kent on the map. In more recent years, chilling new accounts from visitors suggest that Daring Woods has lost none of its sinister energy. One such story comes from two friends who travelled late at night from Pluckley Station to the edge of the forest. The road was deserted with no street lights, only the dim glow of their phone torches. As they neared the tree line, a strange mist rolled across the road. At that precise moment, one friend's phone abruptly shut down, even though it showed nearly a third of its battery life remaining. When he restarted it, the device crashed again. Minutes later, the same thing happened to his companion's phone. Uneasy but determined to continue, they pressed on. Then came the sound of rustling in the roadside brush. They stopped, straining to hear. The undergrowth shook violently, and a low, unnatural sound emerged from within. They were sure something was there, something that had seen them and was deliberately watching. Not a deer or a fox, as it made no attempt to flee. Panic set in. The pair turned back up the road, only for the silence to be shattered by a distant scream. They described it as a piercing, harrowing female cry, echoing through the forest. It was enough to send them running all the way back to the station. Their phones returned to normal once they were out of the woods. But both left with the sense they had encountered something they could never explain. Another unnerving account comes from a group of friends who ventured into the woods on a bright day, hoping to explore Pluckley's infamous Screaming Woods. As they passed the gates, one of them swore he saw a lone woman on the path ahead. The others looked, but no one else was there. He insisted on what he had seen, describing her as walking in the direction they would soon take. The group pushed deeper into the forest, where the neat paths gave way to tangled, overgrown ground. That was when they began to hear it. A faint female voice, murmuring somewhere in the distance. They hesitated, trying to place it. At first it seemed far away, indistinct, like the whisper of a conversation carried on the wind. Then one of them nervously called out, "Is anyone there?" The reply came. A woman's whisper, close by. Soft, unintelligible, but unmistakably human. The sound seemed to come from just beyond the tree line, no more than 30 meters away. The group froze, every one of them hearing it. Fear surged through them as the whispers continued, punctuated by the sound of dull thuds, like heavy footsteps in the undergrowth. They began to run, hoping to retrace their way back to the trail. But in their panic, they only went deeper, the forest closing in on all sides. For 3 long hours they searched for a way out, convinced they were being followed by something unseen. When they finally emerged from the woods, they were shaken but relieved. What unnerved them the most was what their driver later told them. He'd been waiting in the car park the entire time, watching the entrance. During the 3 hours they were inside, no one had entered the woods, apart from a man with a dog who had left an hour after the group went in. Whoever or whatever had whispered to them in the forest. It was not a living visitor.
Popsicles, sprinklers, a cool breeze. Talk about refreshing. You know what else is refreshing this summer? A brand new phone with Verizon. Yep, get a new phone on any plan with Select Phone Trade-in and My Plan. And lock down a low price for 3 years on any plan with My Plan. This is a deal for everyone, whether you're a new or existing customer. Swing by Verizon today for our best phone deals. 3-year price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate only. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.
Life is full of exciting moments. Whether you're buying a new home, opening an account as you welcome a new family member, or planning for retirement, you need a bank that's there when it matters. At Atlantic Union Bank, you'll find helpful people and digital tools to make banking for all of life's moments a little easier. Because you deserve a financial partner who cares as much as you do. Call, visit us online, or drop by a branch to learn more. Atlantic Union Bank. Any way you bank.
So, the Screaming Woods. What an awesome name for a woods, even though it's the Daring Woods. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I just love it. A screaming wood. Because of the tortured souls. Don't love the tortured souls. I wish they were at peace. But how scary.
Yeah.
What did you think of the soldier?
Yeah, it reminds me of my mate's nan. When a few years ago she seen like a soldier in like the woods or something.
Right.
Like with the red jacket and the gold buttons down the middle.
Right.
And yeah.
That sounds like a Queen's Guard, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's what I thought. But
yeah.
she explained the hat, but it wasn't like them ones. It wasn't like a big one like that.
Right, wasn't the beefeater type thing. She's had a few experiences in the fields, hasn't she, in the woods?
Yeah. Seen like a ghost of a bison.
Right.
And like she said, "What's that?" And then her husband got her behind him.
Right.
And like apparently the bison was coming up to him. And then he had his walking stick and he just hit it straight and it just like went through it like a ghost. And then they went home.
Tell me about the other one where they just saw somebody with their head sort of down.
My mate and his nan, when it was like years ago, just like walking through the park and there was some man just stood there, like just like all like bunched up together with his arms to his side, just looking down.
That's really creepy. I found that one the creepiest. I don't know why, just like looking down and not, but knowing, because it makes you think they're fully aware that somebody's in front of them, but they're not looking. Do you know what I mean? Just creepy. Ooh. So Pluckley, as I said, we're covering it next week in Kent. I'd love to go there. I'd love to just walk through those woods and hear some screams for sure.
Yeah. Well, that's the end of this episode. I hope you enjoyed and we'll catch up with you again soon.
We will indeed. We'll catch up with you tomorrow. Take care, everyone.
Goodbye.
Popsicles, sprinklers, a cool breeze. Talk about refreshing. You know what else is refreshing this summer? A brand new phone with Verizon. Yep, get a new phone on any plan with Select Phone Trade-in and My Plan. And lock down a low price for 3 years on any plan with My Plan. This is a deal for everyone, whether you're a new or existing customer. Swing by Verizon today for our best phone deals. 3-year price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate only. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.
Life is full of exciting moments. Whether you're buying a new home, opening an account as you welcome a new family member, or planning for retirement, you need a bank that's there when it matters. At Atlantic Union Bank, you'll find helpful people and digital tools to make banking for all of life's moments a little easier. Because you deserve a financial partner who cares as much as you do. Call, visit us online, or drop by a branch to learn more. Atlantic Union Bank. Any way you bank.